Hi everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Tariana Smith, but I go by Tari. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I created this channel just as an outlet. It's something that I've always wanted to do, and I do have a lot of messages that I feel the need to share with everyone, and things of that nature. But it's ultimately meant to be just uplifting and motivational and things of that nature. So if you like the video or any of my other videos, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I try to post these videos weekly, even though it's been about a couple of weeks because I was traveling since I posted the last one. But with that being stated, I'm going to go ahead and jump into this week's topic. So this week, it fell on my heart to talk about vices. Now, not vices in a way where people are like, oh my gosh, a vice, like morally corrupt and sinful and just completely harmful. But I specifically mean it on a minor level. Vices in a way of unhealthy habits, and things of that nature. It is something that personally I have been dealing with all this week. And it is definitely something that I am aware of for me. Now, vices can be different for different people. It's essentially an unhealthy habit, a coping mechanism. Whenever, in my opinion, either one of your four main areas, mental, emotional, physical, spiritually, the things are just off balance. It's also, a vice is also kind of like a fallback or a go-to thing that makes you feel better, especially in that moment. But it's definitely in that moment and not actually rectifying or correcting or fixing whatever the issue is within itself. My vice, for everyone who knows me already knows what my vice is, but for those of you guys who do not know me, my vice is eating, and eating in particular, eating sweets. And I am not going to lie to you, for the past 4 or 5 days, since I got back from visiting family in Colorado, I have kind of been mentally and emotionally off balance. I've had a lot of things on my mind, actually, and I'm thinking all the time, for those of you guys who do know me, but I think quite a bit. I'm a Virgo, so it's kind of in my nature. But my vice is eating sweets, in particular, brownies, cookies, cake, all of the baked goods that are marvelous. And I especially love the chocolate brownies from Winn-Dixie, and the marble cookie brownie cake from Domino's. So I've definitely been indulging some. But to get back to the point, vices can be different for different people. Gambling, drinking, self-inflicting pain or feeling pain. It could be, a vice could be someone projecting their negativity onto someone else because they don't want to handle or deal with their own stuff. But essentially, these vices are unhealthy to a certain degree. Vices give us the opportunity to kind of escape or get away from the things that we really need to tackle or maybe don't want to tackle in that moment. But again, they're temporary, and it's part of the reason why it becomes a vice, because it's something that you are constantly relying on and going to simply because you don't want to sit and deal with it, with the issue at the root of what's really going on, and acknowledging that and allow yourself to feel those emotions, which is okay to feel. I don't consider myself a super emotional person, but I do believe that, I feel things, and I feel things from other people, and I can pick up on those energies and those emotions. And I believe that feeling those emotions is very important to self-growth and not blocking them out with an unhealthy habit. I challenge everybody in, when you're aware of admitting that you have this unhealthy habit is like the first step. I know that sounds like such a cliche, but for the longest time, I didn't tie my unhealthy habit of emotionally eating onto anything in particular. It was just kind of like, why does something have to be wrong? I just like sweets, blah, 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 blah. But after self-reflecting, I realized that I had moments where I would just overly indulge in sweets. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with eating sugar, or that there's anything wrong with having a drink, or that there's anything wrong with, having a smoke, or, anything like that. But it's kind of like that saying, too much of anything can be a bad thing type of thing. And definitely when it comes to my vice, which is overeating, or anybody else's vices, or vice that kind of comes with the territory. I say all of that to say that, we all have our ways, our unhealthy habits in which we cope with things. And as much as you may try, again, to be aware of these habits, sometimes they still creep back up. And you may still fall into those different vices that make you feel good in the moment. But with that being stated, just remember that it is just a moment. And it's not easy to heal. It's not easy to feel what you don't want to feel. And some people don't like to cry and don't like to get upset, or just don't like to face themselves. It's very difficult to do that. But I believe in you, and I believe in myself. And, emotionally eating is my vice, and it is a struggle. That's something I can admit, but it's something that I am not in denial about, and that I am aware about. And now that I am aware of it, I am actively taking into consideration, or I know when I'm emotionally eating. So with that being stated, I challenge you to take some time to think about maybe what your vice could be, or maybe what your vices are. Again, it doesn't have to be anything super extreme, but I believe we all have them. And just think about, when either of those main areas, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, is off balance, what do you tend to rely on or fall back on? And again, it can be different for different people. I want you to know that your vices, or your vice, does not have to control you. You can control it. Don't be discouraged if you fall back onto it. I've done it plenty of times. No one is perfect. But the fact that you are trying and actively working and wanting to be better, that's what makes the difference. Be kind to yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself, because we are all in it together. You're definitely not alone. I've struggled with this for many years, but I'm a work in progress, and that's okay. I'm just thankful that I'm putting in the work, and I have to remind myself of that. And doing this video for you guys definitely reminded myself of that. So thank you. I shared this deck with you guys the last time I did my video, Empowering Questions deck, and it's just a deck that keeps you present. For someone like me, I have an issue with being present a lot of the times, and my mind wanders and things of that nature. And sometimes I just have issues with being in the now. So I ordered this deck to just keep me present with my thoughts. So the question that I'm posing to myself and to everyone today is, what would you do if you had enough time? Well, the actual question is, what would I do if I had enough time? What do I do when I have time? Ultimately, this thing called time, is really interesting, because some people are like, I don't have enough time for this. I don't have enough time for this. I personally believe that people make time for who and what they want to make time for. No, we don't have 48 hours in a day, but you do have 24. And although you sleep a good bulk of those, just remember to be grateful for the people in your life that are supportive, that love you. Check in with them, take time for yourself. Check in with yourself. It's very important to remain self-full filling your spirit, and so that you can actually have that to give to others. So again, just keep that in mind for this week. If you had enough time, what would you do? And what do you actually do when you do have the time? In my opinion, that can be whatever. There's no pressure with that, as long as you're being intentional with it. Even if what you do with your time when you have it is to chill and do absolutely nothing, that is completely your prerogative and you are entitled to it. So again, I thank you guys for tuning in and watching this video on vices and whatever your vice may be. Just be kind to yourself, be gentle, and know that everything is going to be okay. Your vice doesn't control you. You control your vice. And too much of anything can be a bad thing. Remember, you are loved and you are loved. And hopefully I'll get another video to you guys next week. Have a great week. Bye.